Lisa Martinez stood straight and tall in the cargo bay of the human ship called New Horizon. Her uniform was clean and pressed. Her boots were shiny. She looked like a perfect soldier, but inside her heart was beating fast. Today was not going to be a normal day. The big metal doors of the cargo bay opened with a loud hiss. Cold air rushed in from outside. Then they came inside. The Zephyrians. Lisa had seen them before, but she still felt uncomfortable when she looked at them. They were tall, much taller than humans. Their skin was hard and shiny like the shell of a big bug. Their heads were shaped wrong. They had big eyes that looked like they were made of many small pieces of glass stuck together. When they moved, their feet made clicking sounds on the metal floor. There were 5 of them. They walked into the cargo bay like they owned the ship, like they owned everything. The one in front was the biggest. He had marks on his shell that meant he was important. His name was Commander Vexthal. Lisa knew this because she had read the files about him. Captain Jack Sullivan walked forward to meet them. He was a good captain. Lisa had served under him for 2 years. He was fair and kind to his crew, but right now his face looked worried. Lisa could see the tension in the way he held his shoulders. "Welcome aboard the New Horizon," Captain Sullivan said. His voice was polite but not friendly. "We are ready for your inspection." Commander Vexthal made a sound like clicking beetles. This was how his people talked. A small device on his chest turned his clicking into words that humans could understand. "We'll examine your cargo," the alien said. His voice sounded cold and mechanical through the translator. "Your species has been breaking the rules. We know this." Lisa felt anger rise in her chest. The Zephyrians had been doing this for months. Now, they would board human ships and search through everything. They would find reasons to take things away or demand money. They said it was because of trade laws, but everyone knew it was just bullying. The alien commander walked to the big stack of boxes in the center of the cargo bay. His long fingers touched the labels on the boxes. His big, strange eyes looked at everything. "Medical supplies," he read from one of the labels. "These are not allowed." Captain Sullivan stepped closer. "Those supplies are for the colony on Kepler 442b. There is a disease outbreak there. People are dying." "That is not our concern," Vexthal said. He did not sound like he cared at all. "You are carrying illegal items." Lisa could not stay quiet anymore. She had friends on that colony. Good people who needed those medicines to live. She took a step forward. "Sir, those are humanitarian supplies," she said. Her voice was clear and strong. "They are allowed under the emergency aid laws." The alien commander turned his big head toward her. His glass-piece eyes focused on her face. Lisa felt like a small animal being looked at by a hungry snake. "You were not given permission to speak, human," he said. The word human sounded like an insult when he said it. Captain Sullivan put his hand on Lisa's shoulder. She could feel him trying to warn her to be quiet. But Lisa had studied the laws. She knew she was right. "With respect, Commander," she said, "those supplies are legal under Article 12 of the Galactic Aid Treaty. Civilians are dying from the plague. We have the right to deliver emergency medical aid." Vexthal's shell seemed to get darker. The clicking sounds he made were louder and angrier. His translator turned them into harsh words. "You dare to quote law to me, little human?" Before Lisa could answer, the alien's arm shot out fast like a striking snake. His hard hand hit her chest and pushed her backward. Lisa stumbled. Her boots slipped on the smooth metal floor. She had to wave her arms to keep from falling down. The other crew members tensed up. Lisa could see Ensign Pete Collins make fists with his hands. Chief Engineer Danny Park took a step forward, but they all knew the rules. They could not fight back against alien officials. If they did, it would cause big problems between humans and aliens. Lisa straightened her uniform. She looked right into Vexthal's strange eyes. She did not look away or show fear. "I know exactly where I stand, Commander," she said quietly. Vexthal made more clicking sounds. His translator did not pick them all up, but Lisa could guess they were not nice. Words know your place, the alien said. Your species is weak. You exist only because we allow it. Lisa felt her anger grow hotter, but she kept her face calm. She had learned to control her emotions during her training. More importantly, she was starting to form a plan in her mind. The alien commander continued his inspection. He opened boxes and threw things around. He was not careful with the medical equipment. Some of it was fragile and expensive. Lisa watched him break a container of medicine that could have saved 20 lives. This food is also illegal, Vexthal said, pointing at another stack of boxes. It contains proteins that are restricted. That food is for the crew, Captain, Sullivan explained. Standard rations. Standard for humans, perhaps, but not acceptable under current regulations. Lisa knew this was not true. She had memorized the current trade regulations. The alien was making up rules as he went along. This was about power, not law. While Vexthal continued to destroy their supplies, Lisa watched him carefully. She noticed things that the others might miss. She had spent 3 years studying alien biology at the Space Academy. She knew how different species worked. The Zephyrians were strong on their home world. But here on a human ship, things were different. The gravity was different. The air pressure was different. Lisa could see small signs that Vexthal was having trouble. His legs shook just a little bit when he walked. His breathing was slightly faster than it should be. Most importantly, she noticed the small device clipped to his belt. It was a gravity compensator. It helped aliens function in environments that were different from their home worlds. If something happened to that device, Vexthal would be in trouble. Lisa looked at Danny Park. The chief engineer was watching the inspection with angry eyes, but when Lisa caught his attention, she gave him a small nod. Danny was smart. He understood machines better than anyone on the ship. He also understood what Lisa was thinking. The inspection continued for another hour. Vexthal found fault with everything. He confiscated half their medical supplies. He declared their food unfit for transport. He even questioned their fuel mixture, though it was exactly what it was supposed to be. Your species disgusts me, he told Captain Sullivan. You are soft and weak. You have no honor. Lisa watched the alien commander insult her captain and her crew. She watched him steal supplies that would save lives. She watched him break things just because he could. But most of all, she watched his gravity compensator. And she began to plan. The inspection was almost over when Lisa made her move. Commander Vexthal, she said, stepping forward again. Captain Sullivan gave her a sharp look, but she ignored it. Perhaps you would like to see our new gravity system? We have made some improvements that might interest your people. The alien turned his big head toward her. His compound eyes glittered with suspicion. What improvements? He asked. Lisa smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone who had just figured out how to solve a very big problem. We have installed new gravity generators in several parts of the ship, she explained. They allow us to simulate different planetary conditions. We can even replicate the gravity of your home world. Vexthal's interest was clearly awakened. New human technology could be valuable information for his people. Information that would make him look good to his superiors. Show me, he commanded. Lisa nodded. Of course, Commander. Right this way. As she led the alien out of the cargo bay, she caught Danny Park's eye one more time. The engineer gave her a small nod. He understood what she needed him to do. The game was about to begin. Lisa walked through the corridors of the New Horizon with Commander Vexthal following behind her. His heavy feet made loud clicking sounds on the metal floor. Each step echoed through the narrow hallway. She could feel his presence behind her, like a cold shadow. Her mind was working fast, very fast. She was thinking about everything she had learned during her years of study. Biology, physics, alien anatomy. All the knowledge she had gained at the Space Academy was coming together in her head like pieces of a puzzle. The Zephyrians were proud of their strength. On their homeworld, they were the top predators. Their hard shells could stop bullets. Their clawed hands could crush metal. They thought they were better than every other species in the galaxy. But Lisa knew something that most humans did not. No, she knew their weakness. Every species evolved to fit their homeworld perfectly. The Zephyrians came from a planet called Zephyr Prime. It was bigger than Earth. The gravity there was much stronger. The air was thicker. The atmospheric pressure was much higher. When Zephyrians traveled to other worlds, they needed help to function properly. Their bodies were designed for their home environment. Take them away from that environment, and they became vulnerable. Lisa had written a research paper about this during her final year at the academy. Her professor had given her high marks for her detailed analysis of how different gravity and pressure affected alien physiology. At the time, it had just been academic knowledge. Now it might save lives. She remembered growing up on Mars. The red planet had lower gravity than Earth. Children who grew up there became very good at moving in different gravitational fields. They learned to adjust their movements quickly. They understood how gravity affected balance and coordination. Lisa had spent her childhood jumping higher and moving faster than Earth children could. When she came to Earth for her academy training, she had to learn to move in heavier gravity. It was hard at first, but it taught her valuable lessons about how bodies adapt to different environments. Now she was using that knowledge to study Vexthal as they walked. The alien commander was trying to hide it, but Lisa could see the signs. His breathing was slightly labored. Not much, but enough for someone who knew what to look for. His steps were a little unsteady. His posture was not quite right. The gravity on the New Horizon was set to Earth standard. For humans, this felt normal. For Zephyrians, it felt wrong. Too light in some ways, too heavy in others. Their bodies had to work harder to maintain balance and coordination. Lisa also noticed how Vexthal occasionally touched the walls as they walked. He was doing it casually, like he was just examining the ship's construction. But Lisa knew better. He was using the walls for balance support. Most importantly, she kept looking at the small device on his belt. The gravity compensator was about the size of a human hand. It was sleek and silver, with small lights that blinked in a regular pattern. The device created a small field around the wearer that helped adjust for different gravitational conditions. Without it, Vexthal would be in serious trouble. Lisa led him deeper into the ship. They passed other crew members in the hallways. Ensign Pete Collins was carrying a stack of reports. He nodded politely to the alien commander, but Lisa could see the anger in his eyes. Everyone on the ship hated these inspections. Chief Petty. Officer Amy Johnson was working on a control panel. She looked up as they passed, her face showing disgust at the sight of Vexthal. The alien had insulted her work earlier, calling human engineering primitive and crude. At every turn, Lisa made mental notes. She was mapping the ship in her mind, planning routes and calculating distances. She was thinking about where to take the alien commander for the best chance of success. The engineering section would be perfect. It was isolated from the main crew areas. It had the equipment she would need. Most importantly, it had the new gravity simulation chamber that Captain Sullivan had installed last month. As they walked, Vexthal spoke to her in his clicking language. The translator on his chest turned his words into harsh English. "Your species builds interesting ships," he said. "Crude but functional." "We do our best," Lisa replied. She kept her voice neutral and polite. "Your technology is primitive compared to ours," Vexthal continued. "But sometimes primitive solutions can be useful." Lisa nodded. She was letting him talk while she continued to observe and plan. Every word he spoke told her more about his arrogance and overconfidence. These were traits she could use against him. They passed the medical bay. Dr. Helen Carter was inside, treating a crew member who had been injured during the inspection. Vexthal had knocked over a stack of equipment, and a metal container had fallen on the man's foot. The doctor looked up as they passed, her face showing professional concern mixed with barely controlled anger. "Your medical facilities are adequate," Vexthal commented, "though I am surprised you have managed to keep your crew healthy with such basic equipment." Lisa bit her tongue to keep from responding. She wanted to tell him that human medicine had saved millions of lives across the galaxy. She wanted to explain how human doctors had developed cures for diseases that had plagued other species for centuries. But she stayed quiet. She needed him to keep underestimating humans. They reached a junction in the corridor. Lisa paused, pretending to consider which direction to take. "The gravity simulation equipment is in the engineering section," she explained. "It is our newest installation. We have been testing it for several months." "And it works properly?" Vexthal asked. There was interest in his voice now. "Most of the time," Lisa said carefully. "We are still working out some of the technical problems. New technology can be unpredictable." This was not entirely true. The gravity system worked perfectly. But Lisa needed to plant the idea that it might malfunction. If something went wrong later, it would seem like an accident instead of sabotage. They turned left toward the engineering section. Lisa could hear the hum of the ship's engines getting louder. The corridor here was narrower and more utilitarian. There were fewer crew members in this area. As they walked, Lisa continued to study Vexthal's movements. She noticed that he was breathing more heavily now. The walk through the ship was tiring him more than it should. His gravity compensator was working, but it was not perfect. It could not completely eliminate the stress of operating in a non-native environment. She also noticed something else. The device on his belt was making a very quiet humming sound. It was so soft that most people would not hear it, but Lisa had excellent hearing, trained from years of monitoring ship systems. The humming was irregular. The compensator was working harder than it should. This gave her an idea. A very dangerous idea. If the gravity compensator was already under stress, it might be possible to overload it completely. Not by breaking it directly, but by putting it in a situation where it could not function properly. Most gravity compensators were designed to handle gradual changes in gravitational fields. They could adjust slowly from one planet's gravity to another. But they were not built to handle rapid, repeated changes. That kind of stress could cause them to malfunction or shut down completely. Lisa smiled to herself. She was beginning to see exactly how this could work. They reached the entrance to the engineering section. Chief Engineer Danny Park was waiting for them. He had received Lisa's signal and had prepared the area for their arrival. "Commander Vexthal," Danny said politely. "Lisa told me you wanted to see our gravity simulation system." The alien nodded. His compound eyes were bright with interest. "Yes, I am curious about human gravity technology." Danny led them into the engineering section. The area was filled with humming machinery and blinking control panels. The gravity simulation chamber was in the center of the room. It looked like a small metal box with thick walls and a heavy door. "This chamber can simulate the gravitational conditions of any known planet," Danny explained. "We use it for training and research." Lisa watched as Vexthal examined the chamber. He walked around it slowly, his clawed hands touching the metal walls. She could see his interest growing. "Impressive," he admitted. "I did not expect humans to develop such sophisticated technology." "We have our moments," Lisa said modestly. She was ready to begin the next phase of her plan. Everything was in place. The alien commander was exactly where she wanted him. The equipment was prepared. Danny understood what needed to be done. Now came the most dangerous part. She had to convince Vexthal to enter the chamber willingly. She had to make him want to experience what she was offering. And she had to do it without making him suspicious of her true intentions. Lisa took a deep breath and prepared to spring her trap. Lisa stood next to the gravity simulation chamber, watching Commander Vexthal examine the equipment. His compound eyes reflected the light from the control panels. She could see his interest growing stronger with each passing moment. This was the critical part of her plan. She needed to convince him to step inside the chamber without making him suspicious. One wrong word, one sign that she was planning something, and everything would fall apart. "The system is quite advanced," she said, keeping her voice casual and professional. "We can replicate the exact gravitational conditions of over 200 different planets." Vexthal's head turned toward her. "Including Zephyr Prime?" "Of course," Lisa nodded. "Your homeworld was one of the first environments we programmed into the system. We wanted to be prepared in case we ever needed to transport Zephyrian passengers, or work with your people in emergency situations. This was partially true. The New Horizons computer did contain detailed information about Zephyr Prime's environmental conditions, but Lisa was making it sound more important than it really was. Interesting, the alien commander clicked. Your species shows more foresight than I expected. Danny Park stepped forward from his position at the control console. Would you like to see a demonstration, Commander? We could show you how the system works. Lisa felt her heart beat faster. This was the moment when everything could go right or terribly wrong. She watched Vexthal's face carefully, looking for any sign of suspicion. The alien was quiet for a long moment. His mandibles clicked softly as he considered the offer. Lisa could almost see his thoughts. He was weighing his curiosity against his caution. What kind of demonstration? He asked finally. We could simulate your homeworld's gravity inside the chamber, Lisa explained. It might be more comfortable for you than the Earth-standard gravity we maintain on the rest of the ship. She was careful to make it sound like she was trying to be helpful, like she wanted to make his visit more pleasant. This appealed to his sense of superiority. He liked the idea that humans were trying to accommodate him. You think I need special accommodations? Vextal asked. There was a dangerous edge to his voice. Lisa quickly shook her head. Not at all, Commander. You have handled our gravity perfectly well. I just thought you might enjoy experiencing the comfort of home while you examine our technology. This was exactly the right thing to say. It acknowledged his strength while offering him something pleasant. Vextal's posture relaxed slightly. Besides, Lisa continued, it would be valuable for us to get feedback from someone who actually lived on Zephyr Prime. We want to make sure our simulation is accurate. Now she was appealing to his expertise. She was asking for his help and opinion. This made him feel important and in control. Danny nodded enthusiastically. That would be incredibly helpful, Commander. We have been relying on computer data, but nothing beats real experience. Vexthal walked slowly around the chamber again. He examined the heavy door and the thick walls. He looked at the control panels and the display screens that showed various readings and measurements. Your safety systems are adequate? He asked. Completely safe, Danny assured him. The chamber has multiple backup systems, emergency shutoffs, automatic overrides. We have tested it hundreds of times. This was true. The chamber was safe under normal operating conditions. But Lisa was not planning normal operations. The demonstration would only take a few minutes, Lisa added. Just long enough for you to experience your home gravity and tell us if our simulation is accurate. Vexthal was clearly tempted. Lisa could see it in the way he kept looking at the chamber. He was probably tired from dealing with Earth-standard gravity all day. The chance to feel the familiar pull of his home world would be very appealing. Very well, he said finally. I will evaluate your simulation. Lisa felt a surge of excitement, but she kept her expression neutral. Excellent. Danny, could you prepare the Zephyr Prime environmental settings? Danny moved to the control console and began entering commands. His fingers danced over the touch screens as he called up the proper gravitational parameters. Lisa watched him work, knowing that he was doing much more than just preparing a simple simulation. While Danny worked, Lisa continued to talk with Vexthal. She needed to keep him focused on the demonstration and not thinking too hard about what might go wrong. Our gravity generators use quantum field manipulation, she explained. It is similar to the technology in your personal compensator, but much more powerful. She gestured toward the device on his belt. This was important. She needed him to think about the compensator and how it worked. Your compensator is quite sophisticated, she continued. Much more advanced than our early models. Vexthal looked down at the device with obvious pride. Zephyrian technology is superior to most species. This compensator can handle extreme gravitational variations. Impressive, Lisa said. Though I imagine even advanced technology has its limits. Very few limits, Vexthal replied confidently. This device has never failed me. Lisa nodded as if she was impressed. Inside, she was taking careful note of his overconfidence. The more confident he was in his technology, the less likely he would be to suspect what she was planning. Danny looked up from the control console. The system is ready, Commander. Zephyr Prime gravitational simulation is loaded and calibrated. Before we begin, Lisa said, there is one thing you should know. Our gravity generators can sometimes interfere with personal compensators. The fields can create resonance patterns that confuse the smaller devices. She made this sound like helpful, technical information, like she was being considerate and thorough. You might want to turn off your compensator during the demonstration, she continued, just to avoid any technical conflicts. This was the most dangerous moment of her entire plan. If Vexthal became suspicious now, if he realized she was trying to separate him from his most important piece of safety equipment, everything would collapse. But the alien commander just nodded casually. A reasonable precaution. I have experienced similar interference with other gravity systems. Lisa felt a wave of relief, but she did not let it show on her face. Vexthal approached the chamber door. It was heavy and thick, designed to contain powerful gravitational fields. Danny pressed a button, and the door slid open with a quiet hiss. Inside, the chamber was small but comfortable. There was enough room for one person to stand and move around. The walls were lined with sensors and field generators. Soft lights provided adequate illumination. Please step inside, Commander, Lisa said politely. We will begin with a gradual transition to your homeworld's gravity. Vexthal stepped through the doorway. His heavy feet made dull sounds on the metal floor of the chamber. He looked around at the equipment with obvious interest. Remarkable construction, he admitted. Your engineers are more competent than I initially believed. Thank you, Danny said from the control console. That means a lot coming from someone with your expertise. Lisa moved closer to the chamber door. Remember to deactivate your compensator, Commander. We want to make sure you get the full, authentic experience of home. Without hesitation, Vexthal reached down and switched off the device on his belt. The small lights on it went dark. Lisa felt her pulse quicken. Excellent, she said. Danny, you can begin the simulation. Initiating Zephyr Prime gravitational parameters, Danny announced. His voice was steady and professional, but Lisa could see the tension in his shoulders. The chamber began to hum softly as the gravity generators came online. Vexthal's posture changed almost immediately as the artificial gravity field adjusted to match his homeworld conditions. Impressive, he said, his voice carrying less strain than before. Very accurate simulation. We aim for perfection, Lisa replied. She was standing just outside the chamber door now, watching carefully. Inside the chamber, Vexthal moved with more confidence and grace. The heavier gravity of his homeworld felt natural to him. His breathing became easier. His movements became more fluid. He was completely relaxed and comfortable, which was exactly what Lisa had been hoping for. She looked at Danny and gave him a small nod. Phase 1 of the plan was complete. Now came the real test. Danny's hands moved to different controls on the console. His face was serious and focused. He was about to activate systems that had never been used in this particular way before. Commander, Lisa called into the chamber. How does the simulation feel? Is it accurate? Very accurate, Vexthal replied. Your technology is more advanced than I expected. Wonderful, Lisa said. Now we would like to test the system's full range of capabilities. With your permission, we will demonstrate some of the other planetary simulations. Proceed, Vexthal said confidently. Lisa looked at Danny one more time. He met her eyes and nodded. They both understood what came next. Beginning extended demonstration, Danny announced. His fingers pressed a series of commands into the control system. The chamber's humming changed pitch slightly, and Commander Vexthal's fate was sealed. Danny's hands moved across the control panel with careful precision. Each button press was deliberate and calculated. Lisa watched him work, knowing that every command he entered was bringing them closer to the moment of truth. Inside the gravity chamber, Commander Vexthal stood comfortably in the simulated gravity of his home world. His posture was relaxed. His breathing was easy. He had no idea that he was about to experience something that no Zephyrian had ever survived. The simulation feels perfect, Vexthal called out through the chamber's communication system. Your gravity generators are remarkably accurate. Thank you, Commander, Lisa replied. She kept her voice calm and professional. We are about to begin the next phase of the demonstration. We will show you simulations of several different planetary environments. This was a lie. What Danny was actually programming into the system was much more complex and dangerous than a simple planetary simulation. Proceed, Vexthal said confidently. Danny looked at Lisa one more time. His finger was hovering over the final control that would begin their plan. Lisa nodded slightly. There was no turning back now. Beginning multi-environment demonstration, Danny announced. He pressed the control. At first, nothing seemed to change. The chamber continued to hum softly. Vexthal continued to stand comfortably in his simulated home gravity. But Lisa knew that the computer was now running a very different program than the one they had described. First simulation, Luna Colony Gravity, Danny said, reading from a script they had prepared. The gravity field inside the chamber began to change, slowly at first. Vexthal felt the pull of gravity become lighter, much lighter. He was now experiencing the low gravity of Earth's moon. The alien commander took a step and nearly stumbled. In the low gravity, his movements became awkward and uncontrolled. He had to grab the wall to steady himself. Interesting, he said. Very different from Zephyr Prime. Moon gravity takes some getting used to, Lisa agreed. We will hold this setting for 30 seconds, then move to the next simulation. But 30 seconds was not what the computer was actually programmed to do. Danny had set it for much less time, just long enough for Vexthal's body to begin adjusting to the new conditions. Next simulation, Jupiter Station Gravity, Danny announced. The gravity field shifted again. This time it became much heavier. Vexthal felt his weight increase dramatically. His legs buckled slightly under the sudden pressure. Jupiter's gravity was crushing compared to what he had just experienced. Heavy, Vexthal grunted. He was having trouble standing upright. Jupiter is a gas giant, Lisa explained. The gravity there is very intense. We will only maintain this for a few seconds. Again, this was not the truth. The computer was following a completely different timeline than what Lisa was describing. The gravity shifted again. Back to Earth normal, then to Mars gravity, which was lighter than Earth but heavier than Luna. Vexthal tried to adjust his stance, but his inner ear was beginning to have trouble. The transitions are very smooth, he said, though his voice sounded slightly strained. Our engineers have worked hard to perfect the system, Danny replied. His hands were still moving over the controls, but now he was making adjustments that Vexthal could not see or understand. The gravity changed again, this time to Titan gravity, one of Saturn's moons, then to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Each change was faster than the last. Vexthal was beginning to look uncomfortable. How many more simulations? He asked. Just a few more, Lisa said. We want to show you the full range of the system's capabilities. What she did not tell him was that the computer was now cycling through gravitational changes every few seconds. Each change was designed to stress his body's adaptation systems. His inner ear, his circulatory system, his balance mechanisms were all being pushed beyond their normal limits. The Zephyrian body was designed to handle the consistent heavy gravity of their home world. It could adapt to other gravitational environments, but only slowly and with the help of technology, like the compensator device that Vexthal had turned off. Rapid changes in gravity were something no Zephyrian physiology could handle naturally. Venus simulation, Danny announced. The gravity became very heavy again. Vexthal's breathing became labored. He pressed his hands against the walls of the chamber for support. This is quite intense, he said. Venus has very dense atmosphere, Lisa explained. The surface conditions are extreme. Before Vexthal could respond, the gravity changed again, back to Luna gravity. His body, which had been compressed under the heavy Venus simulation, suddenly felt like it was floating. He lost his balance and had to catch himself against the wall. I think I have seen enough, Vexthal said. His voice was becoming unsteady. Just a few more, Lisa insisted. We have some really interesting low-gravity environments to show you. The gravity shifted to Ceres, a dwarf planet with very low gravity. Then to Pluto. Then to an asteroid with almost no gravity at all. Vextal was now floating slightly in the chamber, his feet barely touching the floor. His compound eyes were beginning to look strange. The rapid changes in gravitational force were affecting his vision and balance. His body was trying to adapt to each new environment, but before it could adjust, the conditions changed again. Returning to heavy gravity environments, Danny said, the system shifted to a simulation of a massive gas giant. The gravity became crushing. Vextal was pressed down toward the floor with tremendous force. His legs shook as he tried to remain standing. Too much, he gasped. But before he could say anything else, the gravity changed again, back to nearly zero. His body was thrown upward by the sudden release from the crushing force. He hit the ceiling of the chamber with a loud thud. "What is happening?" Vextal demanded. His voice was becoming panicked. "The system seems to be cycling through different settings," Lisa said, pretending to be concerned. "Danny, can you stabilize it?" "I'm trying," Danny replied, though he was actually making the problem worse. "The computer seems to be stuck in a testing loop." The gravity changed again. Heavy, light, heavy, light. Each change was faster than the last. Vextal was being thrown around inside the chamber like a toy. His hard exoskeleton protected him from physical damage, but his internal organs were being stressed beyond their limits. "Turn it off," he shouted. "We're working on it," Lisa called back. "The system is not responding to normal shutdown commands." This was true. Danny had programmed the system to ignore shutdown commands for exactly this reason. He had locked the controls so that only he could stop the demonstration, and only with a special override code. Vextal tried to reach for his gravity compensator, but the rapid changes in gravitational force made it impossible for him to coordinate his movements properly. When the gravity was heavy, he could not lift his arms. When the gravity was light, any movement sent him flying across the chamber. His breathing was becoming irregular. The constant changes in gravitational force were putting enormous stress on his circulatory system. His heart was designed to pump hemolymph through his body under the consistent conditions of his home world. The rapid pressure changes were making it impossible for his cardiovascular system to function properly. "Please," he gasped during a moment of normal gravity. "Stop the machine." "We're doing everything we can," Lisa said. She was watching through the chamber's observation window. Vextal was stumbling and falling with each gravity change. His movements were becoming uncoordinated and desperate. The alien commander tried to move toward the chamber door, but another gravity shift sent him crashing into the far wall. He tried to activate his compensator, but his hands were shaking too much to operate the controls properly. Danny looked at his control panel. The readings showed that Vextal's vital signs were becoming erratic. His heart rate was jumping wildly. His breathing was shallow and rapid. "How much longer?" Danny asked quietly. "Not much longer," Lisa replied. She was watching Vextal carefully. The alien was clearly in serious distress. The gravity changes were now happening every 2 seconds. Heavy, light, heavy, light. Vextal's body could not adapt fast enough. His inner ear was sending confused signals to his brain. His balance was completely gone. His circulation was failing. "I cannot," he started to say. But another gravity shift cut off his words. Lisa watched as the proud alien commander, who had been so arrogant and cruel just minutes before, was reduced to a helpless victim of human ingenuity. He had underestimated their intelligence. He had thought humans were weak and primitive. Now he was learning the truth about human capabilities. The final gravity shift came without warning. The system suddenly locked onto the heaviest setting in its database. A crushing force that simulated the surface of a neutron star. Vextal was pressed to the floor of the chamber with incredible force. His exoskeleton cracked under the pressure. His breathing stopped completely. His heart could not pump against the massive gravitational force. Commander Vextal was gone. Danny looked at his readings and nodded to Lisa. "Vital signs have stopped," he said quietly. Lisa walked to the chamber door and looked through the observation window. The alien who had pushed her and insulted her crew was lying motionless on the floor. "System malfunction has been resolved," Danny announced, though no one was listening anymore. The demonstration was over. The engineering section of the New Horizon was completely quiet. The only sound was the soft hum of the ship's engines and the gentle beeping of monitoring equipment. Danny Park stood at the control console, his hands still resting on the gravity system controls. His face was pale but determined. Lisa Martinez looked through the observation window of the gravity chamber. Commander Vexthal lay motionless on the metal floor. His proud posture was gone. His arrogant voice was silent forever. The alien who had pushed her and threatened her crew would never hurt anyone again. "Danny," she said quietly. "Reset the system to normal operations." "Already done," Danny replied. His voice was steady, but Lisa could see his hands shaking slightly as he worked. "All systems are back to standard parameters. The gravity chamber is functioning normally." Lisa nodded. Now came the most important part of their plan. They had to make sure that what happened here looked like a tragic accident. Nothing could point to deliberate action on their part. "Computer," Lisa said aloud. "Record engineering log. Chief Engineer Park and Lieutenant Commander Martinez were conducting a routine demonstration of the gravity simulation system for the Zephyrian inspection team. During the demonstration, the system experienced a critical malfunction." She paused, choosing her words carefully. Every detail had to be perfect. The malfunction caused rapid fluctuations in the gravitational field inside the test chamber. Commander Vexthal volunteered to test the accuracy of our Zephyr Prime simulation. The system failure occurred while he was inside the chamber. We attempted emergency shutdown procedures, but the system did not respond to normal commands. Danny looked at her with understanding. He moved to a different control panel and began entering commands. "I am now implementing emergency protocol 7, he said for the computer's recording. "This will force a complete system restart and clear all temporary programming from the gravity generators." This was brilliant. Protocol 7 was a real emergency procedure that would erase all evidence of the special programming they had used. It would look like they were trying to fix the malfunction, but it would also destroy any proof of what they had actually done. "Emergency. Shutdown complete," Danny announced. "System is now operating normally. All safety protocols have been restored." Lisa walked to the chamber door and pressed the control to open it. The heavy door slid aside with a quiet hiss. She stepped inside and knelt next to Vexthal's body. She checked for vital signs, even though she knew there would be none. "No pulse," she said aloud. "No breathing. Commander Vexthal appears to have suffered complete cardiovascular failure." This was true. The rapid gravity changes had caused his circulatory system to shut down completely. His heart had simply stopped working. Under the stress of the constantly changing conditions, Danny was already contacting the bridge. "Captain Sullivan, please report to engineering immediately. We have an emergency situation." Within minutes, Captain Sullivan arrived with Dr. Helen Carter and several other senior crew members. They found Lisa performing artificial respiration on the alien commander, though they all knew it was too late. "What happened?" Captain Sullivan asked. Danny explained the situation exactly as they had planned. A routine demonstration of their gravity technology, a volunteer test by the alien commander, a sudden system malfunction that they could not control. "Dr. Y." Carter examined Vexthal's body carefully. She ran her medical scanner over his exoskeleton and checked his vital signs with her equipment. "Massive cardiovascular failure," she concluded. "His circulatory system appears to have been overwhelmed by rapid changes in gravitational stress." She looked at the gravity chamber and its control systems. "Is this kind of malfunction possible with your equipment?" "Unfortunately, yes," Danny replied. "The gravity generators operate on quantum field principles. When they malfunction, they can create very dangerous conditions very quickly. We have been working on improving the safety systems, but this technology is still experimental." Captain Sullivan examined the control panel readouts. Everything looked normal now. The system showed no signs of the special programming that had actually caused the malfunction. "Were there any warning signs?" he asked. "The system seemed to be operating normally," Lisa said. The malfunction happened without any advance indication. Commander Vexthal was examining our Zephyr Prime simulation when the gravity field began fluctuating wildly. We tried everything to shut it down, Danny added, but the system was locked in some kind of feedback loop. It took several minutes before we could force an emergency restart. Dr. Carter continued her examination of the body. She was being very thorough, which was exactly what Lisa had expected. The doctor was professional and careful. She would not miss any important details. The pattern of injuries is consistent with extreme gravitational stress, Dr. Carter reported. Rapid changes between high and low gravity environments. His physiology simply could not adapt quickly enough. This was perfect. The medical evidence supported their story completely. Captain Sullivan activated his communication device. Bridge, prepare to contact Zephyrian Command. We need to report the death of their inspection officer. Over the next hour, the ship's crew worked to document everything that had happened. They recorded the condition of the equipment. They interviewed everyone who had been present. They prepared a complete incident report. Lisa and Danny answered all questions honestly. They described exactly what had happened, leaving out only the fact that the malfunction had been deliberately programmed. Their story was consistent and believable. The other Zephyrian inspectors were called to the engineering section. They examined their commander's body and questioned the human crew extensively. But they found no evidence of foul play. The gravity chamber's malfunction was clearly documented in the ship's computer logs. This is a tragic accident, the senior Zephyrian inspector concluded. Your experimental technology is obviously dangerous and poorly designed. Captain Sullivan accepted the criticism without argument. We will be reviewing all safety protocols for the gravity simulation system. This kind of accident must never happen again. Within 2 hours, the Zephyrian inspection team had left the New Horizon. They took Vexthal's body with them and filed their official report. The humans had been careless with dangerous technology, but there was no evidence of deliberate wrongdoing. Captain Sullivan called a meeting of his senior staff. Lisa and Danny were included along with Dr. Carter and the other department heads. I want a complete safety review of all experimental systems on this ship, the captain ordered. What happened today was unacceptable. We cannot allow our technology to malfunction in ways that could harm visitors to our vessel. Understood, sir, Danny replied. I will implement additional safety protocols immediately. Good, Sullivan said. And I want that gravity chamber offline until we can guarantee it will not malfunction again. Lisa nodded in agreement. Perhaps we should request additional technical support from Starfleet Engineering. This technology may be too advanced for us to operate safely without better oversight. This suggestion made their story even more believable. If they were willing to admit their technology was too dangerous, it supported the idea that the malfunction had been accidental. The meeting ended with assignments for everyone to review, safety procedures, and write detailed reports about the incident. Lisa and Danny would be required to submit technical analyses of what had gone wrong and how to prevent similar accidents. Later that evening, when the ship was quiet and most of the crew was off duty, Lisa and Danny met in the engineering section. They were alone with the gravity chamber that had been the scene of their success. Do you think they believed it? Danny asked. Completely, Lisa replied. The evidence all supports our story. The computer logs show a system malfunction. The medical evidence confirms gravitational stress as the cause of death. There is nothing to suggest we did this deliberately. Danny looked at the gravity chamber. What about the programming? Did Protocol 7 really erase everything? Everything, Lisa confirmed. There is no trace of the special commands we used. As far as the computer is concerned, the malfunction was caused by a random quantum field fluctuation. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, both thinking about what they had accomplished. The medical supplies? Danny asked. Already on their way to Kepler 442b, Lisa said. Captain Sullivan authorized immediate departure as soon as the Zephyrians left. The plague victims will have their medicine within 48 hours. Danny smiled. Good. That makes it all worthwhile. Lisa nodded. Commander Vexthal had thought humans were weak and primitive. He had believed that superior technology and physical strength made his species better than everyone else. He had been wrong. Humans had something more valuable than hard exoskeletons or advanced gravity compensators. They had intelligence. They had the ability to think ahead and plan carefully. They had the wisdom to understand their enemies' weaknesses and use them effectively. Most importantly, they had the determination to protect innocent lives, no matter what the cost. The galaxy was a dangerous place, filled with species who thought they could bully and intimidate humans. Some of them were stronger. Some had better technology. Some had more powerful weapons. But very few of them were smarter.